There is a version of you that your partner has probably never met. Not the version that shows up in the easy seasons, the version that shows up when something genuinely breaks, when the financial floor drops, when health becomes uncertain, when the identity you built your life around is suddenly not available. That version is not your worst self. It is your most fundamental one. And it is the most important thing your partner doesn't yet know about you. I'm Dr. Shae. This is the art close of this series. Today I want to pull together everything we've covered: financial intimacy, attachment repair, family inheritance, communication under pressure, and show you where it all lands, who each of you actually is when the structure of ordinary life strips away. I'll tell you how W and X's story ends. First, what happened when real pressure arrived? Across this series, we've looked at 5 domains: financial intimacy, attachment and repair, family inheritance and the loyalty transfer, communication under physiological stress, and stress architecture, how relationships hold or fracture under genuine sustained pressure. Each of these domains has an identity dimension that runs underneath the practical one. And that identity dimension is this: who are you when the scaffolding comes down? The scaffolding is everything that ordinarily holds your sense of self in place. Your career, your social role, your routines, your productivity, your sense of competence in the world. Most people move through ordinary life without ever fully separating their identity from these external structures because they never have to. So what's actually left once all of that is taken away at once? What remains is the self that was there before the scaffolding was built. And that self often surprises both the person and their partner. It is quieter than expected, or louder, more fearful, or more still. It needs things the ordinary seasoned version never needed or doesn't know how to ask for. And it behaves in ways the partner who fell in love with the scaffolded version may not recognize. That's the theory. Here's what it looked like for 2 people who loved each other completely. W and X had been together 5 years when the diagnosis arrived. Not a terminal one, but significant. A condition that would require a period of treatment, recovery, adjustment, a reordering of daily life that neither of them had built a framework for. W was the one diagnosed. And what happened to W over the following months was not what either of them anticipated. W became someone X didn't fully recognize, not in a frightening way, in a quieter, harder way. The competence that had been central to W's identity, the relentless capability, the self-sufficiency, became unavailable. And without it, W didn't know who to be, how to ask for help, whether asking was even allowed. X wanted to help. X kept offering. W kept declining or deflecting, not from pride exactly, but from something more fundamental. A self that had never learned to receive care without it feeling like evidence of inadequacy. X experienced this as being shut out, as the relationship contracting at the moment it should have been expanding, as W choosing to manage alone rather than let X in. Neither of them was doing it wrong. They were both doing it from the deepest layer of themselves, and neither layer had ever been introduced. So here's the question worth sitting with, not about W and X, about you. If the scaffolding came down for you tomorrow, would you know how to ask for what you needed? Or would you, like W, manage alone and call it strength? That answer is something your partner needs to know about you before the day it actually matters. The individuation work we discussed in the Family Blueprint episode, becoming a self that doesn't require external validation to function, turns out to be the same work that makes you available to receive care under genuine pressure. The person who has not individuated from the family of origin blueprint about what acceptable need looks like will under stress revert to that blueprint. If the family message was that need equals weakness, then genuine vulnerability in a crisis will be experienced as threat, not relief. The person who has not developed earned security in attachment, who does not yet have a nervous system that trusts that connection survives rupture, will, under stress, default to their most primitive protection strategy: withdrawal, avoidance, self-sufficiency as a wall rather than a capacity. The financial attachment pattern, the conflict inheritance, the communication flooding threshold. Under sustained pressure, every one of these runs at its most fundamental level, with the least overlay of developed skill. The version of you that shows up in a crisis is, in a real sense, the most honest version there is. This is not a reason to despair. It is a reason to map. I call it the blueprint moment, the conversation held in a calm season where you each bring your most fundamental self forward before the circumstances require it, where you say, here is what I look like when the scaffolding comes down. Here is what I need that I don't know how to ask for. Here is what will make it worse, even if it is offered from love. That conversation is not a prediction of crisis. It is the foundation that makes crisis survivable. Here is the version of this I hear most often at the close of this kind of work. We know each other, we've been through things, we'll handle whatever comes. I believe you. You probably will handle it. You are capable people who love each other. And the couples I've sat with who navigated the genuinely hard seasons most intact were not the ones who believed hardest in their love. They were the ones who had done the most specific preparation, who knew what their partner's stress self looked like, who had named what they needed before the need was acute. Love is necessary. It is not sufficient. What sits between love and survival is the blueprint. Here's the conversation to have this week. Both of you answer 2 questions. When I am genuinely under pressure, what do I look like? And what do I need from you that I might not be able to ask for in that moment? Write the answers down. Share them. W and X had the conversation retroactively after the acute phase had passed. They built the map from the territory they just survived. W named what need had felt like and why asking had felt impossible. X named what shutting out had felt like and what had helped even when W didn't know it had. They have that map now. For next time, build it before you need it. Across this 10-week series, we've covered financial intimacy, attachment and repair, family inheritance, the loyalty transfer, communication under pressure, co-regulation, and the identity that remains when the structure of ordinary life is gone. The Blueprint Compatibility Assessment covers all 5 domains. Link in the description. The Blueprint Workshop series is where the real work happens. 5 live sessions where the blueprint goes from concept to conversation. Love connects you. The blueprint protects you.